I wanted to bring you this report. It's surfacing on Judicial Watch, and it's talking about this report that Isis and Hezbollah are operating freely in Spain, that Latin America has become a hotbed for Islamic terrorism. This report coming out of the Spanish Defense Ministry, they're saying they're ill-equipped, they can't combat it, that they're able to that these groups are able to raise money freely, and it's all in an effort to attack the U.S. Now, Judicial Watch, it goes hand in hand with the ACLJ and what Jay Sekulow has been saying for a long time. But this is really a troubling report, and it's coming out of their own defense ministry, that Latin America represents an important region for Islamic radicalism because conditions enable the free, almost undetectable movement of members and money, if you can believe this. Now, Rob Dew, our nightly news director, and I were talking about last night doing a report. I brought this up to him, but I couldn't do this report because there just wasn't enough information about these ISIS supporters arrested near Washington, D.C. This is coming from WND. Garth Kant, he was formerly with CNN, and he's actually now writing for WND, and he's talking about how the average person living in Washington, D.C. wouldn't be able to recognize the jihadi living next door, that there have been these 9 arrests. He's the only person who's written about these 9 arrests. Nobody else is covering this. And he goes on to talk about this one Washington Times report, including and he goes on to highlight how many people that have been ISIS sympathizers in our nation's capital: a police officer, a Starbucks barista, Army soldiers, bankers, a cab driver. 4 of the 9 graduated from Northern Virginia high schools with honors. 2 attended Northern Virginia Community College. We're talking about people that are middle class, that are earning money, that are unsuspecting, that are flying below the radar. And we know that ISIS is trying to infiltrate the U.S. any way that they can, and we have a serious problem on our hands. Now, we've talked about this at length here at InfoWars. Obama, in his last 20-odd-something days of office, he's trying to push through as many refugees as he can, largely unvetted, this massive population. The official number is 25,800, I believe, this last leg, which is over his 110,000 that he promised to take in the fiscal year 2017, is right around the corner. We're seeing this last push over 25,000 people coming from places that could be considered hotbeds for extremist terrorism. They're not being vetted. This is his push. If I could just take you to this final article. He's speeding up the influx of refugees before Trump, because we know that Trump's policies are to question this, to put a moratorium on these sort of refugee mass influx of people coming in the country. And he's hitting this target and he's going over it, and people need to be awake. They need to understand that resettlements are happening in their communities, and we could see a surge in attacks like the 9 arrested prior to doing any attacks, but law enforcement was on top of that. But we're really flooding our system. We need to question these policies. I'm Margaret Hill reporting for Infowars.com.